off runway 26 straight out departure.
Good evening, everybody. We are testing the settings right now. We're going to be recording the Come Fly With Me series from Boulder, Colorado to Estes Park, Rocky Mountain National Park. We're going to visit Long's Peak, come across the Arapahoes, and come back into Boulder for a nice little loop on today's video. Chat while we're doing it. We're in the Aviation Beechcraft, and we should be in good shape for this. Let's get her done.
Oh, what if you got him in the shower? Blah, blah.
Kilo Bravo Delta Uniform Traffic Beechcraft 69er is clear of the runway.
Alright, so our Beechcraft is in good shape. Let's take a look at the plane. People were saying that it's a good idea to do a little bit more in cockpit adjustments and things like that. They think that's pretty sweet. They're trimmed down here, flaps at the bottom. Digital climate control. We've got our headings and our meter, but we're just going to be doing a free flight here out of Boulder, Colorado. The reason why I selected Boulder, Colorado for today's flight is because for a couple of years I lived here after college where I skied primarily at Winter Park. No pain, no Jane. And then Copper was my second pass, but let's get up and get out of here. I've been noticing that there's a tug on my trim. Calibrated the T16000, but it doesn't seem to be making much of a difference. Just always on the takeoff, and then everything else is fine. Oh, let's get up and get out of here. We're up and ready to rock and roll. Lemon's private strip. Don't know much about that. But, you know, we're going to make a trip around here. We're going to head out towards Lyons. And we need to retract the landing gear. Landing gear is up. Let's track our plane so we make sure we're in good shape. Bring back the throttle just a little bit under 2,700 RPMs. And right now we're up to about 900 vertical feet. Off to our south, we got the beautiful Flatirons. I think that's Bear Mountain. Bear Mountain or Green Mountain. I can never remember the name, but I think they're like, just depends on which one's which, but. So yeah, we're going to start heading across the Front Range. We're going to go up towards Lyons. We're going to climb in and around to Rocky Mountain National Park. The Boulder, Colorado behind me, the University of Colorado, the Buffs. Right there is Boulder Canyon that heads up into Nederland. Had some friends that live up there still to this day. I had a good friend of mine back in the day, lived in Nederland. He was a Ned head. And he now lives here in northern Michigan alongside the rest of us. But there was a time after college where we moved out there. Lived in the Front Range and skied Monday through Friday. Worked at a couple places. Back in the day, I worked at Hotel Boulderado in the basement of this little bar called Catacombs. I was a door guy, and I picked up glasses and ashtrays because you could smoke in bars back then. Shitty job, by the way. I wasn't really into it. But then I also worked at the Dark Horse, which was like this super cool, funky burger joint that has, it has trike racing and goofy stuff all over the walls, and it's a tiny kitchen, but like we had just incredible food. Like the burgers were just phenomenal. Stressing the plane a little bit. We can chill out for a minute on it. Let's see here. Let's give it a little juice. We're climbing up to 7,700 feet. That's fine for the front range. Acceptable. You know, the Dark Horse was just phenomenal. They had 2 bars. Like, it was so hokey, crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Boulder, Colorado, but it was definitely worth going to. I always liked it because we worked the grill or the fryer, you know, made a ton of hot wings for people and stuff, and then people would come in and order it extra hot and just fire it up. All kinds of really good food. Still there too. I was back there in about 4 years ago. There's something to be said about being in the cockpit though versus, you know, on the external view, you know what I mean? Trim, we don't really need to be at 15%. Our pitch trim, not 2 degrees. Just gonna pitch us down and give us a little more speed, but so we're at 10. I flew this a little bit earlier, and I was happy with about a 7% pitch. Yeah, if we take a look at, you know, here's Lions up here on the right. The purpose of this flight isn't to really mess around. What we're going to do is we're going to head over to Rocky Mountain National Park. Cruise around Long's Peak, get a great view of that. We'll see how well if we can climb up to the top of it. We didn't get the top earlier, but I'd like to see if we can do it today. Last night on stream on Algorithm TTV, we took a Cessna 152 and tried to climb over the front range. The night before, I got over it at about 13.5. Yesterday, slammed into the wall. Both me and the passenger, we didn't make it out alive. Not in the Cessna 152. So I was like, you know, for the ease of you know, flying a maybe a little more difficult plane or a little stronger plane, it might be a little more fun. You know what I mean? I make no apologies by the Tango 69er. I'm not apologetic. I'm just a clown and a child and a grown man. Now, the shirt that I'm wearing tonight, this is from the Order Shore. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Michigan mountain bike racing series, but the Order Shore is a phenomenal race. The one that I did was the Hard Rock, so it was 48 miles from Negaunee to Marquette, typically ending near NMC, Northern Michigan College. That's a good one. Most of the course is private land, and so you can't really ride it or train for it other than the fact that it's rocky. It can be either really dusty, in this case it was super raining, and kind of slimy and stuff. It was just a tough race. They say most of it's downhill, but only really the last, you know, quarter of it. The rest is constantly up and down, 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 and, you know, it's just kind of wild. It's a tough race. Really took everything I had that day. That's a good one though. I'm looking forward to it next year. Every time I go to these races, I try to do, since I'm not a pro or anything, I try to beat my times by 10, 15, 20 minutes. So far, I just finished my 2nd year of racing the mountain bikes, which is great. It was awesome. Got involved in a local shop now, and so now I'm a sponsored shop rider by Specialized. Is the sponsorship brand that we ride with. But a friend of mine has a brewery here in the Traverse City area. It's called Stonehound Brewing Company. If you've been to this area, you got to check out Stonehound. If you're into vegan food, they have awesome vegan food. Incredible beer. And it's located just off our Vasa trail system, which is one of the larger trail systems in Michigan. It gives you all kinds of opportunity to fat tire, skinny tire, gravel, single track, you name it. We've got it all. It's pretty awesome. But that's definitely a place that you want to stop by. But we are on the McLean Stonehound racing team for the next 3 years. We'll be part of that. I'm really looking forward to. There's a fantastic group of human beings on that team. Last year alone, they alone raised $33,000 for St. Jude in a month for mountain biking, find cures for cancer, which is awesome. Can't wait to help raise Miles as well. Has raised money by riding Miles. One thing that the targeted goals for next year is we've got our first gravel race. We'll have 2 gravel races. The rest will be cross-country single hardtail bike races. Notably, the Iceman will be the 3rd year in a row of the Iceman, 2nd year of the Orta Shore, the Peak to Peak, which is in Thompsonville, Michigan. That's Crystal Mountain. And then let's go lower for Estes Park. Let's lower our trim down here and let's give ourselves like a natural down. Again, guys, this series has anything to do with teaching people how to fly or, you know, tips and tricks or anything like that. I'm a noob and I'm learning, and this is just me on the fly learning. The way I wanted to make this series go was simply, let's just, you know, go to places that I love, that I've been to, that are just phenomenal, and, you know, and just may have fun flying around and getting better at flying. I mean, I'm super happy with the progress, with everything that we're doing and how we're getting along with the equipment, and there's so much to learn, and honestly, I've just been so stoked. Like, everything has just been phenomenal. Initially we bought this for my son because he really wants to be a naval aviator. He's also a big fan of the Tom Cruise Maverick movie. So Santa delivered the T-16,000 for Christmas for him, and I delivered Microsoft Flight Simulator. And, you know, I have to thank my dad for, you know, kind of getting the bug. Because we would always go to his house or his cottage, and he'd have this up because he's an avid flyer. And he is the one that got us into this, and it's been pretty incredible. It's been an incredible experience. There's no doubt about it. So, namely, we are going to go over here to our left. There's Mummy Mountain to our right. We have Longs Peak down to our left, and that's what our path is going to take us to. It's going to take us over Longs and maybe the Peak to Peak road, or the Peak to Peak highway, and in Netherland, and we'll take the canyon down and land back at Boulder Municipal. You know, this is going to be a little bit longer of a video, probably half hour, maybe 45 minutes, just because I wanted to do something that was just a little different, you know. But this plane is pretty phenomenal. I like it. It's pretty self intuitive in terms of flying it. It can handle some stress for elevation height. What we're going to need to do now, though, is we're going to need to start climbing. And so we need to raise our trim up a little bit, and I want to see if we can get up to roughly 15,000 feet, maybe. I don't know if we'll have enough time to get there. If not, there's a really nice speed slot through here that gets a really great look from Longs Peak. A lot of people will start at the base of Longs and hike it. It's roughly 14.3, I think, something like that. And you have to start at roughly 3 o'clock in the morning and summit by a certain time to get out of there. I've gone up a lot of the range, but not Longs. Namely because the people we were going to go up longs with we got up a certain level and they were just like, we can't do this. They weren't acclimating well to the elevation. I was like, yeah, I get it. Not everybody can handle elevation. When I moved there, I never really seemed to have a problem with getting acclimated to the elevation. What I do remember, though, is just the air being just so incredibly dry. Alright, so we need to find our way to climb up at a good steady rate here, without overly stressing the plane and without the airspeed dropping too low. But I think we're coming in pretty smooth, and I'm feeling like I'm not really fighting the plane. I am flying manually. I rarely use autopilot, but just because I don't really know how to use it yet. And then I've got to learn how to use navigational stuff, and there's just so much to learn. But I've only been playing this for a couple weeks, so bear with me while we learn. A lot of you seasoned flight simulator people out there are probably like, oh my god, he's not doing this, that, or the other. And then, great, leave it a comment and down below, and I'll be glad to learn. I'm not afraid to figure out how to do stuff. I'm not afraid to suck. I think it's okay to suck. I'm trying to stall this bad boy, though. We're stressing the plane a little bit because we're at longs, but we don't have the elevation necessary maybe to get through here. Not yet, anyways. So I'm thinking the slot in this canyon might be enough, or we're gonna have to bail out. But either way, we are towing the line here, and I think we might just get there. I think we're gonna be okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Long's Peak from... it's just so sweet up here. It's just so pretty. So we're at 13.2. We're not in danger of stalling. We're going to make this slot right here, which is kind of what I was trying to do. We're going to come right down through it. Here we go. We're going to get our things back together, and then we got to figure out... I believe Ned is going to be over here. Let's bring down our trim a little bit as I take it the wrong way, and we're climbing a little bit, but we're in good shape. So we're right on the front range right here. We're just flying right along at about 30. These are all 13ers. Longs is the 14er of them all behind us. They're all so beautiful because they just basically drop right away. They're so pretty. If there was, there's one lake, and I don't know if I'll be able to see the name of it here with my simulator guy. Brainerd Lake? That's Coney Lake Trail. We're sinking. That's not good. That's okay. 14.255. Okay, great. So that's what Longs is. But the Front Range of Colorado is just absolutely phenomenal. And I highly recommend a visit to Boulder, Colorado via Denver International. And there's also a friend from high school who owns a brewery in Winter Park. It's called Big Trout Brewing Company if you want to go there and have yourself a pint. I have not been there yet. I'm looking forward to going there. But apparently they serve up some pretty marvelous beer as well. So Indian Peaks Wilderness is generally where we go hiking out of Boulder. And just pretty an amazing spot. And so we've got the Dallas Cowboys playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Cowboys are beating up on the Buccaneers right now. Not by a ton, but it looks like they're steady with it. Sadly, my Michigan State Spartans fell to the number 3 Purdue Boilermakers today by 1 at home in an It's an incredible basketball game. And I gotta tell you, Purdue and Edie are just phenomenal. That's a phenomenal basketball team. Just unstoppable. I thought Michigan State played lights out. And I think they played about as good as basketball as you can play. It's a tough one. A lot of tough calls in there, too. A lot of folks not happy. Namely, Izzo. But then Izzo, when is Izzo happy? You know, it's not usual. Not common. So, long story short, you know, you can't play poorly for the first 5 minutes of a game, and down the stretch, Hogard missed a couple free throws, and that was just kind of a bummer. And so we didn't get the game, but it was pretty phenomenal day on Martin Luther King Day, and it's a special day. You know, it's just an incredible day all around for what MLK did for the world, and for the black community, and for the community at large, and for what an amazing man that he absolutely was, and it is in the hearts of all of us. So, for MLK, man, I'm gonna take a sip of this ice cold beverage for him. Now, one of the things that we're going to do here is we're going to get out of this range here. And just went over Mount Audubon. I've been up that one. Silver Lake. This Sky for Sim NG map is pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. It was recommended by my dad. I purchased it. No issues purchasing it. No issues with the PayPal. No issues with, getting a code or anything like that. It was super worth it. I just felt the in-game one just left a lot to the imagination. So we're over Ward right now. Ward is a pretty remote spot in outside of Ned. And we used to take Jeeps up these trails. There were like Jeep trails and stuff, and we would camp in these. It was pretty phenomenal. And I know I say that's phenomenal a lot, but you know what? It really, truly is. I mean, there's something just super magical about Colorado, and there's something magical about the foothills, and then the ranges, and then just everything coming alive right here. And the skiing's pretty great, and music's good. One time we went up to a random place, and it's called Rollinsville, and it's this bar restaurant. It's called the Stage Stop, and the Stage Stop was interesting because it was really just a pole barn at the time, and I've seen it since, and it's definitely updated and modernized from what it was, but it was just like an upstairs. They had one keg of beer and a fridge and like a 6-inch floor, pool table, little bar, and we went up for this quote-unquote biodiesel benefit show. And I was invited by all the hippies, right? And so it was like, okay, there's a bunch of dudes, local guys from the Netherland area that were playing music together for kind of like a private invite show. My buddy, for living in Ned, was friends with all these guys. And so naturally, one of my roommates and I, a friend from Michigan State University, we got invited to go along. So we went up to Rollinsville. And it was, let's bring back the throttle a little bit, control airspeed. So we went to the show, and it was like invite only, and basically we were there till like 4 or 5 in the morning. And the bands that were there were members of String Cheese Incident, Yonder Mountain String Band, Leftover Salmon, and a couple other local guys. I can't remember what they're called, Single Malt, something like that. But it was a phenomenal show. Everybody delivered. It was, I don't know. I love the area. I loved this area very much. It would have been cool if I had stuck it out for longer. But I had wanted to I graduated from Michigan State, and I was like, I want to give it a shot. I'm going to go to the mountains and see what I have in terms of the freestyle mogul skiing, and wasn't quite good enough, but had an absolute blast doing it. Ooh, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What did I do? What just happened? Oh my god. Okay, we fixed it. Wow. Don't freak out, man. Don't freak out. I just hit whatever kind of button. So we're gonna want to be coming down here. We're gonna come right over the canyon. I think it looks like. We're gonna make ourselves land here. We'll end the video, but appreciate you guys flying with me. I hope you guys are having a good 2023. So a lot of things that we're gonna be doing here with the YouTube channel. Again, I've been streaming on Twitch for 4.5 years under the moniker Algorithm TTV. We are now starting to fly Flight Simulator Live there. We're also doing Fortnite, and we have a Michigan State Football Dynasty for NCAA Revamped. I plan to not generally bring all that stuff to the channel, but I want to bring, not to the YouTube channel, but I'm going to start bringing in a lot of Flight Simulator and a lot of biking, a lot of mountain biking stuff. But I just want to have some sort of like realism, real life with me, and you know what we do outside of our live streams. Stream quite a bit. It's been a passion of mine now for about 4 years. It's a, you know, been an affiliate for a while and an Amazon employee, for gosh sakes. I'm not a huge streamer by any reason, but that's not why I do it. I do it just because it's just an absolute joy to entertain and to have a good time with that. So we're going to bring our trim up a little bit, or bring our flaps down a little bit so that we can control airspeed. And we'll be coming down here. Let's bring our trim up just slightly. So we're coming in a little low, but we'll even it out here. We want to be around 50 knots. I want to get to around 50 or 60 knots to land this thing nice and smoothly. Right now we are at 100, so we can back off a little bit. Initialize a little bit of a climb. Right when we get to about, I believe, the Foothill Parkway or whatever this is, we'll go down flaps again. And I don't think we can keep our trim at about 8%. The trim's not going to matter to me all that much. To me, it's just going to be about controlling airspeed. And we're really where we need to be. We're towing the line here. We can bring our plane up. Airspeed is too low, but that's okay, because we want to be low. We don't need it to be insane. I don't need to... I really just want to bring this thing down and let it stall over the runway. So we're going to bring down the engines right here, all the way to 0. And get our little back, and we want our stall to happen. Ah, not as smooth as last time. What are you going to do, though? We didn't crash. We didn't ruin the plane. We're in good shape. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back at Boulder. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming and flying with me. You guys have a great day. Go green, go white. We'll see you on Algorithm TTV. Twitch.com. Well, Twitch/TV/ whatever. Twitch.tv/Algorithm TTV. I know better. Take care.